Phillips is going to deliver the speech. The title is Thriving in a Hybrid Environment. This speech will be 6 to 8 minutes, so I will suggest the timer. When he reaches 6 minutes, maybe red, maybe green, 7 minutes, yellow, and 8 minutes red. Thank you. Philip, it's your turn right now.
Thank you, Bing. Our Toastmasters Club has survived through the pandemic. When COVID hit in 2020, if it weren't for Zoom, our club would have dissolved. It would have been shut down. But thanks to video conferencing, we were able to make a pivot. We went from being a club that met every single week in person to meeting online. And that change was awkward at first. It took some getting used to, but now it's the new normal. And recently we made another change. We went from meeting just online every week to a hybrid environment where now all of our members have the option of either coming to this room for the meeting or continuing to attend remotely, as most of us have continued to do. So today I'd like to talk about this hybrid meeting environment. And I'm going to cover, number one, what it took to make that change from online only to hybrid. Second, I'm going to talk about the benefits of having a hybrid Toastmasters Club. And then third, I'm going to talk about the next steps that our members can take, that you can take to ensure that we continue to have success as a hybrid club. So first of all, how did we get here? How did we make that initial change to a hybrid club? Well, it took a lot of planning and it took the efforts of a lot of people. And I really want to acknowledge the work that a bunch of people put into this because we had never done it before. We had to kind of figure it out as we went along. And the first person who really helped a lot, he's not here today, but Alvin Castro was our sergeant at arms at the time. And he really spearheaded the effort. I mean, he was the first person back on campus when HP reopened the site to check out all the meeting rooms, figure out the new video conferencing technology that they installed, and figure out the optimal meeting room for our Toastmasters Club to take over. Alvin stepped down and Oksana stepped in to be our new sergeant at arms. And she has done a spectacular job of being here every single week, except today because she's sick, but almost every single week to show up at the lobby and to make sure that we have a room that's set up and ready for our club to use. And another person I want to acknowledge is Marie Noel, who was our president at the time, and she did a great job of promoting this change, letting everybody know what was happening. She came and set up a booth here in the quad at HP and let everybody on site know that Toastmasters was coming back to the office. And then there's me. I stepped in as well because there was a lot of other changes and some turmoil going on at the time that we were trying to make this change. For example, Alvin, who was spearheading the effort, just so happened to be moving from Roseville to Southern California. So he was hopping back and forth between locations. Sometimes he was here, sometimes he wasn't. And at the same time, Oksana, who was supposed to be picking up the slack from Alvin, she was in the middle of helping her mom immigrate from Europe to the United States. So she was traveling overseas at the same time that all this was happening. So I stepped in to try to provide a little bit of continuity through the whole process. I helped put together a schedule week by week to figure out who's going to be here when, identified the specific windows when we would have available to do training, all the milestones we needed to hit so we could plan for a specific date, promote that date, May 11th, as our first day to have a hybrid Toastmasters meeting. And thanks to the efforts of everyone involved, we actually were able to hit that date. And since then, since May, we've been meeting in this hybrid environment. And I'm grateful that we do have a hybrid club because there are some real benefits to having a hybrid club that you don't get in an online only environment. For example, when I present a speech via Zoom, I don't get as nervous as I do as when I present a speech in person. And when I'm on Zoom, I feel like I can hide behind my screen a little bit. I'm just a floating head talking to a bunch of other floating heads. So I don't have to worry about body language or making eye contact with people. And when I'm in person, it feels different. I get more nervous. I can feel everybody's eyeballs on me. And to be honest, I like that feeling of nervousness. I mean, that's one of the big reasons why I'm a Toastmaster is so I can feel nervous and get used to it and learn how to work through it. And so that when I actually have to give a presentation in real life and I start getting those jitters, I can think and remember, oh yeah, I know this feeling. I'm nervous and it's okay. I've done it before. I can do it again. And I don't quite get that same feeling when I'm presenting via Zoom. Now, I get a lot out of presenting via Zoom. I feel like I can get 90% of the benefits from Toastmasters on Zoom alone. I can work through the pathways manuals. I can identify specific skills that I want to work on. I can practice those. I've gotten to be a better speaker just through Zoom. But there's that last little bit that I feel like I can only get by presenting to people in person. So I'd like to see this hybrid club continue. And I think there are things that we all can do together to help ensure that our club continues to operate in a hybrid environment. And there's really just one simple suggestion that I'd like to make, which is show up, come to the room. There have been so many weeks where I've dialed in via Zoom and I see Oksana and she's the only person in the room. That's happened multiple times. And it kind of breaks my heart because it's like, why do we even have a room if we're not going to use it? And I fully recognize there are a lot of people in our club now who cannot come to the room because of the distance. And I think that's awesome. We've been blessed in this club. We have expanded beyond our geographic boundaries over the last couple of years. We now have people in the Bay Area, in Southern California. We've got people in Montana, and all the way out in North Carolina. And I think that's awesome. Like, we have grown so much, and we now have 10, 12, 15 people every single week because of Zoom. And I don't want to change that at all. But I am talking to the people who are local, who live 10, 20, 30 minutes away, but aren't coming to the room. And I get it. I know we can be recalcitrant about making the effort to come into the room. I myself am in that boat. There's a lot of weeks when I'm not here, for sure. And I've got my own excuses. You know, usually the excuse is just, well, I don't really want to take a shower and put on a collared shirt and drive to the office and drive back. I mean, it just feels like such a waste of time, right? And if you're in the same boat as me, then I would ask that you not think about the time that you're wasting by coming into the room, but think about the opportunities that you're missing out on by not coming in. You know, all those benefits that I talked about, being able to practice body language and eye contact and getting those jitters and learning how to control them, you can't really get that at home. So I have one final suggestion that hopefully will help us transition into this hybrid environment a little more smoothly. I think it would be fun to designate one day a month to be our come to the room day. Maybe it's the first Wednesday of every month. And if you happen to live or work in the area, put it on your calendar, make an effort, schedule around it, whatever you have to do, and actually come to the room. I'd love to see this room filled with people so that when people are giving a speech in the room, they actually have an audience of people looking at them to present to. Just like we had for the open house. Back in July, we had an open house and this room was packed. It was awesome. I was here. It felt like it did back before COVID when we would meet every single week face to face. I think if we can do that on a regular basis, even if it's just once a month, then our club won't just survive like we've done throughout the pandemic, but we will thrive. Madam Toastmaster.